In the beautiful village of Obaje lived a young woman named Adesuwa. Adesuwa was known throughout the village for her beauty, grace, kind heart, and love. Her skin was smooth and polished, and her eyes sparkled like stars on a clear night. She was married to Osaze, a man whose love for her was pure and unwavering. For 7 years, they had shared their lives together. But there was one shadow that darkened Adesuwa's otherwise happy life. She was a barren woman. In Obaje, motherhood was seen as a woman's highest calling, a sign of favor from the gods. The people believed that the woman's worth was measured by the number of children she bore. Unfortunately for Adesuwa, this belief became the source of her infinite agony and mockery. Though she and Osaze were head over heel for each other, always being around each other, but as time went by, the villagers began to spread rumor about them. The people of Obaje, especially the women, took great joy in mocking Adesuwa. They gathered at the market square every day, laughing and gossiping with all marketers. "Look, there she goes," Imade would sneer as Adesuwa approached the market. Imade, a mother of 4 elderly children, was the figurehead of the village women. A woman so beautiful, yet no children to show forth. What a waste of beauty, Imade would say. The others will laugh heartlessly. "Maybe she is being punished," another woman, Etinosa, would add. "To what good is beauty if you cannot bear children?" Adesuwa, though outwardly strong, felt a weight of their words. Like a heavy stone in her heart, she kept her head high as she walked past them, pretending not to hear their insult. But when she returned home, the loneliness took over her as she longed for a child, someone to cherish and hold, a child who would silence the bad voices of other women and bring peace to her heart and family. Osaze, the ever-devoted husband, would comfort her. "Do not take their words into heart, my lady," he would say while comforting her. "You are more than enough for me, and children will come when the gods are ready." But it wasn't just the people of Obaje who tormented Adesuwa. Osaze's mother and sister, Ese, did. Mama Osaze was a harsh and intolerant woman, and Ese, Osaze's younger sister, is what we should describe as a witch who made life unbearable for Adesuwa. Mama Osaze had high hopes for her son, and after 7 years of marriage to Adesuwa, her impatience grew by the day. "You have been in this house for 7 years, still no children," Mama Osaze would say with contempt. "What kind of a woman are you? If I had not bear any children, would you have gotten married to my son?" Essie would stand there watching and laughing while making remarks. Adesuwa would lower her head in shame, unable to respond. She had prayed and sacrificed at every shrine, seeking favor from the gods, but still no child came. "If you cannot give my son children," Mama Osaze would continue, "perhaps it is time to leave so he can meet other women who will bear him children. Adesuwa's heart shattered into pieces with each cruel word. She loves Osaze deeply, and the thought of leaving him was unbearable. But what could she do? She has tried everything, her prayers, her sacrifices, yet her womb remained void. On a particular day, after a serious argument with Mama Osaze and Ese, Adesuwa was forced to leave the house. She could no longer endure the pain and the shame, the gossips and the constant pressure from her in-laws to fulfill a role she desperately wanted but could not control. Her feet carried her away from the village into the thick forest beyond. She had no idea where she was going, but knew she needed to escape from the horror and torment. As the sun began to set, the shadow of trees grew longer and darker. Adesuwa found herself on the banks of a flowing river. This was a forbidden river, a river the villagers feared. Legend says that the spirits and the ancient evil powers dwells in it. Those who swam or got close to it were never seen again. Adesuwa was not afraid. At that moment, she felt she had nothing to lose. She knelt before the river and wept. All great powers of the river, she cried with her voice shaking, I come to you with a heavy heart. Please hear my plea. I have been ridiculed, mocked, and tormented because I cannot bear children. If there is any mercy left in this world, please bless me with a child. I am ready to pay any price. For a long moment, the river stood still. The wind blew leaves to every direction, and Adesuwa trembled that no divine entities had held her. But just as she was about to rise and return home in distress, a soft voice called out from the river. Adesuwa, the voice said, gently yet commanding. With fear, Adesuwa looked up, only to see a beautiful goddess emerging from the river. The goddess was resplendent in a dazzling silver robe that shimmered like 1,000 stars, adorned with glittering threads. Her arms were decorated with radiant amulets that sparkled like diamonds, emitting a brilliant light that illuminated the surroundings. On her head, she wore a majestic silver crown, shaped like a fairy firebird, and lavishly decorated with pearls and corals. Her black shining hair was as bright as the night sky, and her blue eyes sparkles. There was something strange and powerful about her presence, as if she was an entirely different being. Who are you? Adesuwa asked, wiping her tears. I am the deity of the river, the goddess replied, her voice so calm like a soothing melody. Why do you weep so bitterly? She asked. I weep because I cannot have children of my own. I am now a subject of ridicule and mockery in the village, Adesuwa explained, and the women of my village despises me and now throw shades at me in my presence and absence. I wish I can have just one child in this life. I will be more than satisfied. You think children are the only thing to determine your worth, but there is more to life than the gift of motherhood, the goddess replied. Adesuwa, do you not see the beauty and kindness within you? Still, I know how you feel. The path ahead looks bright but won't be an easy one to achieve. If you are truly ready to go any length, then I'll show you the way. Adeswa's heart raced with hope. I will do anything to be called a mother, she said earnestly. The goddess nodded and said to her, "Now listen to me. For the next 15 market days, come to the river every day in the early hours of the day to bathe. Take these steps with faith, and if there be a time when you lose the tiniest hope, do not return here, else my wrath will be on you." Adeswa nodded in gratitude, even though she was scared. But if this is the risk she will have to take, so be it, she thought to herself. She hurried home with her heart filled with hope. When she returned to her hut, she couldn't help but ponder about what had transpired earlier. The next day, Adeswa set up for a journey as her heart gladdens because of what is ahead. She did exactly as the goddess had said. To her amazement, everything around her began to glow. She became more happier and had come to realize that there is more to just being a woman than motherhood. Adeswa's husband grew more happier too, knowing that his wife has changed so much. He couldn't help but wondered what entered her. As weeks goes by, Adeswa's dream became more vivid. She dreams of walking in a narrow part of a bush while hearing the cries of babies. Adeswa would search but wouldn't find them. She began having the dream more frequently. The villagers noticed Adeswa's movement every morning and began whispering even more. What has gotten into her? Or perhaps has she been seeing another man just to conceive? Even Mama Osaze grew suspicious. "Where do you always go in the early hours of the day?" she demanded one day. "You will bring a curse into this family," she said. And immediately Osaze stomped into the house angrily. He shouted at his mother and called out for essay. He gave them serious warnings of their life never to harass his wife again. As they weren't giver of children, they have no right to render insults to Adeswa. Mama Osaze was left shocked and mouth wide open. Adeswa ignored them all. She knew in her heart that she is reaching out to the keys to her deepest desires. She continued going to the forbidden river, even as gossips around her grew louder. One day, when she finished bathing in the river, she heard a voice saying, "Drink from the water, Adeswa, and the word barrenness will be wiped out from your household." She summoned the courage and did as instructed, knowing she didn't come this far to turn back. As soon as she drank the water, she felt a warmth spread through her body. She knew in that moment that something had changed. Days turned into weeks, and Adeswa realized that she was pregnant. Her joy knew no bound as she rushed to tell Osaze, who was overjoyed as well, and even Mama and Ese, who had been so mean before, suddenly became softened. The villagers were astonished. The woman they had mocked for years was finally carrying a child. The whispers turned into curiosity. How did it happen? Everyone questioned. What sort of power did she use? But Adeswa kept the secret of the river to herself. As her belly grew, so did her dreams. Every day, she kept thinking about her baby. Months passed, and the day of birth finally arrived. It was a long and difficult journey, but at the end, Adeswa finally gave birth to a beautiful set of twins. The girls were perfect, their skin silky and fair. Their blue eyes radiate everywhere. All the women were shocked as they have never seen such beauties before. They named the both girls Odion and Ahere. The villagers threw a huge celebration after the arrival of the babies. Osaze's happiness knew no bound as he can finally experience the joy of being a father. Mama and Essie were extremely delighted as Mama can now eventually be called a grandmother. From the moment they were born, one could tell that Odio and Ahere were extraordinary. 2 months passed. Adeswa took her babies back to the river and presented them to her. The goddess emerged from the water and called Adeswa, saying, "Look who came looking for me. Bless your heart, Adeswa. Your children shall be blessings to generation, and wherever they set their feet on gets fruitful. They came from me, and they shall be like me, fierce but merciful." Odion and Ahere grew up to be such beautiful children, as pretty as goddess and as wise as serpents. The villagers couldn't stop talking about them as years passed by. Adeswa lived with pride among the women. The shame and reproach she got those previous years brought forth these pretty goddesses. Please like, subscribe, and hit on the notification button so as to get notified when I post new videos.